Welcome to Latter-day Faith, Hope, and Charity. My name is Ambrosia Fox. This is episode 6 in my Matthew 25 series. In this episode, I will give an overview of the parable of the talents. But first, I would love to point out something in the JST. For those who are unfamiliar with it, it's short for Joseph Smith Translation. He worked just like any other translator and put the meaning of the words into his own understanding, but as a prophet with the Spirit of God. It is so powerful and brings deeper clarity into so many things. Language is a funny thing. It doesn't translate straight across, and there are many things missed in translation. But meaning and interpretation, when done by the Spirit, can enlighten the understanding so much more than word-for-word translation, especially when the English language has limited words for different concepts. For instance, the word love in English actually has 12 different words in Hebrew, each describing a different type of love, say, between a parent and a child, or an animal, or even an object. Here, let's take a look. The first edit is made right in verse 1. The King James says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom." In the JST, he added, "and then at that day before the Son of Man comes." Okay, why would he add this? It seems to be of little consequence. We know it's about the last days. But if the prophet of the Lord added it, then it must clarify something. So what would that be? To me, this clarifies that we are to see the whole kingdom of heaven, all of God's children on both sides of the veil, who have lived before and who are living now, and understand what it would look like before the Savior comes. I'll go more in depth in that when I get to the 10 virgins. But for this episode, let's look at the first edit in the parable of the talents, which is the transition between the 10 virgins and the talents. This edit is made across several verses. First, he added a verse between, making the verse numbers change, and second, he removed the phrase, "the kingdom of heaven." The King James says, "Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods." Whereas the JST says, "Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh." And here is what he adds, "Now I will liken these things unto a parable." Interesting transition, don't you think? God inspired Joseph to clarify something. In fact, I would state that this chapter, known to have 3 parables, in reality only has one: the parable of the talents. As noted in this added verse, and I also would state, the 10 virgins is not a parable at all, but closer to an allegory that is likened unto the kingdom of heaven. In essence, it is painting a picture of the state of the whole kingdom of heaven at the time leading up to the second coming of Christ. While the sheep and goats is also not a parable, but a prophecy, prophesying the moment Christ comes to judge his people. So, what's the difference? If you ask Google, this is how it breaks it down. You have a parable, purpose, to teach a specific moral or spiritual lesson. Length, generally short and concise. Characters, typically human characters, facing relatable situations. Interpretation, the meaning is usually straightforward and easily understood. An allegory, purpose, to convey a deeper, often symbolic meaning beyond the literal story. Length can be short or long, but often more elaborate than a parable. Characters can be human or non-human, but often represent abstract ideas or concepts. Interpretation requires analysis and interpretation to understand the symbolic meaning. Likening to, purpose, to explain or clarify something by comparing it to something else. Length can be a brief comparison or a more extended explanation. Note, while analogies can be a part of allegories or parables, they are not the same thing. An analogy is a comparison, while a parable and an allegory are literary forms with specific purpose. Okay, so why does knowing the difference between these three things matter? Let's ponder for a minute this added verse, 13. Now I will liken these things unto a parable. Does the parable of the talents explain the 10 virgins? Why would he need to use another parable to explain his first parable? This is why I said it's more of an allegory, and why you need to know the difference. Because an allegory requires analysis and interpretation to understand its symbolic meaning, whereas a parable is usually straightforward and easily understood. So, could he be using a parable to give the interpretation of the 10 virgins? Now the question is, how? They are so different. Here, let's read it to see some of the differences. For it is like a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. Remember, Joseph removed the kingdom of heaven. Make a mental note of that. And unto one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway went on his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou unto the joy of the Lord. And then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not scattered. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. And lo, here is thy talent. Take it from me, as thou hast from thine other servants, for it is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, O wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where I have not scattered. Having known this, therefore, thou oughtest to have put my money to the exchangers, and at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. I will take therefore the talent from you, and give it unto him who hath 10 talents. For unto every one who hath obtained other talents shall be given, and he shall have in abundance. But from him that hath not obtained other talents shall be taken away, even that which he hath received. And his Lord shall say unto his servants, Cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, here is the transition between the parable of the talents and the beginning of the sheep and goats. Notice he doesn't start it with, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto, or I give you a parable. He simply continues with, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then he shall sit upon the throne of his glory. This is a prophecy. I will be doing a more in-depth study on the 10 virgins in the future episodes, but let's look at some of the differences off the top of our heads. The 10 virgins, most likely women. The 3 servants, most likely men. Oil and lamps versus talents and money. Half who were foolish and didn't prepare versus 1/3 who deliberately chose to hide the coin in the ground. Sleeping and waiting versus actively working and multiplying. Called to a wedding feast. Called to run the master's business. One night and a long time. So the question is, why would Joseph receive a verse that the parable of the talents would be a likening of the 10 virgins? This is where I began asking questions. I have pondered and studied this chapter, including fasting and prayer, to gain a deeper understanding of its layers, and I'll share those thoughts, impressions, and study with you in the following episodes. Take them or leave them. It doesn't matter to me. This deeper insight strengthened my faith and led me to a more profound understanding of what it means to be a disciple of Christ. Ultimately, we can only receive personal revelation for ourselves. This perspective may be how the Lord communicates with me. I fully understand that. But I do also feel that He wanted me to share. So if it resonates with you, then great. If not, that's okay too. I now see it like bookends, the 10 virgins on one side, a display of the majesty of the whole kingdom of heaven, and its state right before Christ comes, with the sheep and goats on the other, a final scene, a prophecy, a judgment that divides out that which is not His. And in the middle? Well, that's what we're going to find out in the next episodes. Take some time to ponder and delve into the scriptures with the insights I have shared with you today. I hope the Spirit guides you to view this chapter in a slightly different light as it did me. Thanks for watching.